Please adhere to YouTube's selected guidelines before viewing the content of this video. I do not encourage or condone any products, actions, or behaviors shown in this video. All videos are produced in a safe, professional, and controlled environment. Please do not attempt to replicate any actions performed during the video. All actions are performed by professionals. Alright, so today I'm going to be drinking Pepsi made with real sugar for the first time. What I've got with me today is a 6-pack of the Pepsi Soda Shop made with real sugar, which is quite the name, and surprisingly, this variety has quite the history as well. It was first introduced under a different name in 2009 as a limited edition throwback product that was meant to remind people of the pre-high fructose corn syrup days. And in 2011, it turned out that the variety was so popular that Pepsi decided to introduce it full time. And over the next decade or so, there were a couple different rebrands, with the latest one having occurred in early 2024, with this variety having changed its name from simply Pepsi made with real sugar to Pepsi Soda Shop made with real sugar. And that's where we stand today. I'll be honest though, I didn't know that Pepsi actually made a variety with real sugar up until like a month and a half ago, because, well, I had never heard of them doing that before. The marketing for the Pepsi Soda Shop made with real sugar, or any of its previous names, seems to have been very lackluster, I'll acknowledge, and I didn't even know that this stuff was sold up until the point where I actually saw it in one of my local grocery stores and was like, wait, they actually make that? When was this introduced? It was introduced like over 15 years ago. I just had no idea for the last 15 years. I might not be the biggest fan of Pepsi, but I think I'd definitely be a bigger fan of it if it was actually made with real sugar. So I don't know how I've missed this variety existing for so long. As a whole, I am very excited to try some, well, Pepsi made with real sugar for the first time, and I am very excited to find out just how it is, what it's like, what I think of it, and I'm looking forward to letting y'all know as well. Before I go ahead and get any further into the video, I do real quick just want to grab a thumbnail while I still have the 6-pack all together, so let's do that just momentarily. It is very heavy though. Oh man, my arm is not very happy about holding it up like that for a bunch of time. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get one of these cans all out of the 6-pack. And let's go ahead and quickly just take a look at the packaging just real quick before I go ahead and cover the actual ingredients. And we can see the packaging definitely does appear to be more of a throwback than not. Now, this is certainly not what the OG, like Pepsi Cola packaging looked like back in the 1980s or before by any means, but they certainly do have some retro aspects going on. We've got a really big Pepsi logo in the center with an overall white background for the can. We got red up here, dark blue down here, white in the very middle, and in black text in the center of that white, it just says Pepsi right there, but it doesn't just say Pepsi, it actually says Pepsi Cola, as we can see with some fancy cursive font combined with that print. Then under that in white, in the blue, it just says Soda Shop made with real sugar right there, and that's really all that's going on to the front of the packaging. Quote unquote, this is a can after all, it is round, so there really is no true front though, I do suppose. But that's what the main design of this can actually is. It's a much more simple look than not, and it's definitely retro inspired, but I wouldn't describe it as being a truly retro or vintage look. But is it a bad look? Not by any means. I don't mind it, but it definitely does just kind of look a little bit different than modern Pepsi, so it kind of took a minute for my brain to even realize that this was Pepsi to begin with, I'll acknowledge. It might be different for y'all, of course, but that was just kind of my thing. But I definitely do think they've done a good job of distinguishing this variety from normal Pepsi by all means. That's pretty much all that's going on with the design on the front of the can. Let's go and move on to the side right here. We can see just says Pepsi Cola, 90 calories per can. This can in specific is 7.5 fluid ounces or 222 milliliters. And we can see the serving size is 1 can, calories 90. There's our 0 grams of fat, 20 milligrams of sodium, 25 grams of total carbohydrates with 25 grams of added sugars. 0 grams of protein, and taking a look at the ingredients, it's carbonated water, sugar, caramel color, phosphoric acid, caffeine, and natural flavor. Just says bottled under the authority of PepsiCo Inc. in New York, and caffeine content is 24 milligrams per 7.5 fluid ounces. Got the barcode right there as well, and got some other information such as encouraging recycling and whatnot. This is all in blue, and yeah, really nothing too much going on. The ingredients, definitely, it's a little bit of a shorter list than modern Pepsi, without a doubt. Apparently, not only did they get rid of the high-fructose corn syrup and replace it with, real sugar, but they also got rid of a handful of other ingredients from what I remember as well, to really try to bring back the classic taste of Pepsi Cola. But, yeah, that's really all that's going on with the packaging, and that's all that's going on with the ingredients. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get this can cracked open, and let's see if I can just smell this stuff real quick before I go ahead and actually get to drinking. Nice satisfying can open right there. Smelling it, it definitely smells like Pepsi. Without a doubt, this smells like Pepsi. But it smells just right off the bat less syrupy. About the same sweet though. Like sweetness-wise, about the same, but definitely less syrupy smelling. And it smells just a little bit richer, a little bit deeper. I don't know if that's really the right way of describing it, but it definitely smells less syrupy and just a little bit richer and deeper. And I'd have to say maybe even a little bit more like vanilla caramelly. Interesting, interesting. Well, I do think without further ado, it's time for me to go ahead and take a sip of a Pepsi made with real sugar for the very first time. And I think it's time for me to find out just how this stuff is, what it's like, and what I think of it. Without further ado, let's take a sip and let's get to drinking. Yes, sir, yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? That is so much better than modern Pepsi. I'm just saying it straight up. That is so much better than modern Pepsi. Wow. I mean, like, it's syrupy, but it's like half as much syrupiness. The taste as well. Is slightly different. It's less syrupy. It's got a richer, sort of deeper flavor. And while there's not any more or any less flavor depth itself going on in this variety, when compared to modern Pepsi, when compared to normal Pepsi, it's just different. It's just different. The flavors themselves overall are similar, if not the same, kind of thing. This, without a doubt, tastes like Pepsi. However, it doesn't taste like normal Pepsi. I'm like, you can tell it's normal Pepsi, but it doesn't taste like Pepsi made with high-fructose corn syrup, I guess is really the right way of putting it, because, well, it's not Pepsi made with high-fructose corn syrup, it's Pepsi made with real sugar. To describe the taste fully, I would have to say that it is a, well, caramel, vanilla flavor with good amount of carbonation going on, a little bit of sort of fizz, a little bit of citrusiness kind of coming from the carbonation itself. A little bit of molasses, a little bit of sort of like brown sugar, I'd say. And I mean, like, overall, I mean, like, what I'm describing right now is the taste of Pepsi. But the main, yeah, really the main thing, like, you really get that, like, sort of like vanilla, cream, caramel, brown sugar, molasses with a little bit of that sort of citrusiness, zest coming from the, like, carbonation, popping on your tongue and stuff like that kind of thing. But with normal Pepsi, you get an overwhelming just syrupy taste. That's just the main taste on top. This, on the other hand, the main taste on top is that sort of vanilla caramel cream taste kind of thing. With there still being, don't get me wrong, a little bit of sugary sort of syrupiness going on in there. anything with sugar in it. If it's got enough sugar, it's going to come across as syrupy in some way, shape, or form. But this is, no joke, half as syrupy, if not less syrupy, than modern Pepsi made today. Normal modern Pepsi made today, to say it correctly. And instead of having an overtone of syrupiness, you get just an overtone of sweetness with that vanilla, cream, caramel, brown sugar, molasses, slightly citrusy, zesty, carbonatey sort of taste on your tongue. Yeah. I gotta admit, the Pepsi Soda Shop just straight up tastes better quality than normal modern Pepsi just because it's less syrupy. And frankly put, it's better. I would absolutely much rather drink the Pepsi Soda Shop than modern normal Pepsi. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I would much rather drink this stuff than normal modern Pepsi. That is without a doubt. At least Pepsi from the United States, at least. I do realize there's some areas around the world that might actually still use real sugar and whatnot kind of thing. But modern, normal Pepsi from the United States is worse than the Pepsi Soda Shop. This stuff is better. And, you know, if I'm going to be drinking Pepsi in the future, I'm going to be drinking this Pepsi, not the normal modern stuff. The taste is just better because it's less syrupy. It's still sweet. It's still very sweet, but it's less syrupy. There's not any more or less depth to the flavor, but due to the lack of syrupiness, it almost comes across as being a sort of like richer, deeper flavor, even if it's not in reality really that way. And like mouthfeel-wise, it's just so much more pleasant because you don't drink it and then feel like your tongue is just covered in syrup afterwards kind of thing. I'm drinking it and I'm actually getting the flavor staying on my tongue rather than it actually just being syrup flavor on my tongue. I'm actually getting the flavor from Coca-Cola sticking around in my mouth. It's not just high fructose corn syrup. Yeah, no, I like the Pepsi Soda Shop made with real sugar. I have tried a handful of other real sugar sodas made in the past, excuse me, such as Mexican Coke, which isn't really Mexican Coke, it's a marketing thing. And then there's also, I want to say, like the glass bottle Sprite. I've tried that previously, and I think I've tried glass bottle Fanta as well, if I remember correctly. I would personally have to say, out of all of the real sugar sodas I've drank, this is probably my second favorite, with the Mexican Coke being number one, mainly because it comes in a glass bottle. And I just personally think stuff tastes better out of a glass bottle. But honestly, if they introduce a glass bottle for this, it would be equal. It would be equal. But they're just about equally as good kind of thing. And I really like both the real sugar Pepsi and the real sugar Coca-Cola. I can't really put one over the other. They're just different, and both are good, and both are better than their modern normal counterparts. That's without a doubt. And just drinking this, I'm gonna be honest, I know it's not healthy. Soda is not healthy, but I just feel healthier drinking this because it doesn't taste like pure high fructose corn syrup. Like, actually, I feel healthier drinking this. Which is pretty amusing, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Overall, I do like the Pepsi Soda Shop. I think it's very solid. I think it's definitely better than modern normal Pepsi, from the United States at least. But honestly, it's kind of interesting. Pepsi from Japan. I tried it when I was in Japan this last time, and definitely Pepsi from Japan is a little bit more syrupy than this. But Pepsi from Japan is also, in my opinion, more creamy. I actually like this and Pepsi from Japan equally as much, but this is better than Pepsi from the United States, like normal Pepsi from the United States. Might be a controversial take, but that's what I'm sticking with. I said it, so I'm sticking with it. Yeah, no, I'm impressed. I don't mind this by any means, and I am most certainly going to be enjoying the rest of this six-pack, and I am most certainly going to be having to buy more of the Pepsi Soda Shop in the future whenever I want more Pepsi in the future. I don't drink Pepsi all that often, but whenever I want some, I'm going for the Pepsi Soda Shop, especially since it is significantly cheaper than Mexican Coke. And that is one massive benefit of the Pepsi Soda Shop. I can't remember exactly how much more, if it is more than normal Pepsi. I figure it is. I didn't look at the price comparison. I really should have. But what I can say for sure is that this six-pack right here, I think at my local grocery store, it cost me like, oh man, I want to say like roughly $5. At my local grocery store, like a bottle of Mexican Coke, the real sugar Coke, is like $2, $2.25 kind of thing. So you either get a six-pack, granted small cans, or you get like 2 bottles of the Mexican Coke. And the good thing is about the Pepsi Soda Shop is that you can also get it in normal 350 milliliter cans in a 12-pack. So you can get it for even cheaper, for like $9 or something like that kind of thing. At the price it's at, if it's available, why not go for the Pepsi Soda Shop? That's kind of my take. It's cheaper than real sugar Coca-Cola, and it's equally as good. Really, the only big benefit that Mexican Coca-Cola has is that it's in a glass bottle, and that it's Coca-Cola, of course. I realize there's some people that prefer Coca-Cola over Pepsi. I'm pretty indifferent. I like both. But yeah, I mean, like, for the price it is, for what you're getting for the price, and for it being cheaper than the alternatives, excuse me, it's very solid. And frankly put, I think the Pepsi Cola Soda Shop deserves a very solid, I'm gonna have to say, 8 out of 10. I think it deserves a very solid 8 out of 10. It's not like my favorite soda of all time, but I think it is deserving of a very, very, very solid 8 out of 10. And I do really like it, and I absolutely prefer it over normal modern Pepsi. Yeah. For context, normal modern Pepsi, for me at least, would be getting probably like a 6 to 6.5 out of 10. Coca-Cola would probably be somewhere around a 7, with Mexican Coke probably being somewhere around like an 8 to 8.5. And so the Soda Shop Pepsi, being about an 8, is about right, I'd have to say. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say for this video today. Appreciate y'all watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of the Pepsi Soda Shop, and let me know if there's any other sodas I should try that are made with real sugar, or any other real sugar varieties of sodas that I should try. To say it correctly, I do suppose. Let me know in the comments down below. Appreciate y'all watching this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching. If you guys have, like, subscribe, check out my Patreon, my book, my merch, everything like that, all in the description down below. Thanks, what was I about to say? Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for stopping by. To the next one, y'all. Stay safe and peace, and have a great one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying?